What's going on, YouTube? I did a couple searches before I started this job looking for a quick tutorial on how to change the brakes on a 2016 Lexus RX350 F Sport. I couldn't find anything, so I decided to put a video together. I already got the other side done, so I'll walk you through how to do it real quick. So first you want to start off by jacking up the car properly. I used a rail pad to make sure that the car is lifted on the railing without damaging it. A standard floor jack will do. The lug nuts are 22 or 21 millimeter lug nuts. Once you take those off, you'll have access to a brake caliper, and the video will cut back shortly once the wheel's off. Alright, once the wheel's off, you have access to a brake caliper, rotor. You're gonna remove these two nuts that are on the back of the caliper. They're 14 millimeter. So right over here. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. And just something to note is when you're unscrewing the bolt, if you see this little rubber grommet tries to spin with it, you can hold that with a 17 millimeter wrench while you're unscrewing it, and that'll prevent you from tearing that rubber seal. Now once you remove those two bolts, the caliper will come right off. And you just make sure you rest that in an area where you're not putting any pressure on the brake line. And there you'll have access to brake pads. Just pull these little retainer clips out. Sometimes you gotta wiggle them out. And just make sure you keep those handy, because those have to go in once you put the new pads in. Alright, so the pads just slide out from right over here and right over here. And then what you'll get on the old pad is you'll have these shims on it that go on like such. But the new pads already come with shims already built in, so you don't have to worry about moving that over. What you should move over is this little clip on the top, which prevents it from sliding around inside the caliper. And to take that off, you can just use a flathead screwdriver to get it off of the old pads and put it right onto the top of the new pad. Before I put the new pads in, I always like to put this brake lubricant on. Just prevents squealing. You just put it on any of the surface area which the caliper will make contact with. Alright, so with the new pads in, you want to make sure that the retaining clip that you copied over is on the top of both pads, and you reinstall the retaining pins that go onto the center. And if you try to point them up, it won't fit, so just make sure they're all pointing towards the center. Okay, the next step is to compress the pistons on the brakes. So to do that, you just put an old pad in and squeeze it together with either a C-clamp or a piston compressor like this. So this is with the piston not compressed, and I'll cut back and show you what it looks like depressed. Okay, this is what it looks like fully compressed. As you can see, it's flush with the caliper. Okay, this is everything reassembled. Once again, when you tighten up this bolt, make sure this isn't spinning with it, and you would just use a 17 millimeter wrench to hold that from spinning. Otherwise you'll tear it and the slider pin won't be greased up properly. Alright, that's it. One other thing I wanted to point out is that when you compress the pistons inside the caliper, you can also, it's a good idea to relieve the air pressure by removing your brake fluid cap on top of the engine. That's it. Make sure you torque your wheels properly, and pump the brakes before you start driving. Once you change the brakes, you'll have to pump the brake pedal a few times just to get pressure built back up. Make sure you do that. That's all. Once you torque your lug nuts up, you want to do them in opposite sequence. So start off with one and then do the opposite side. That's about it. Make sure you pump your brakes before you drive. Thanks a lot for watching.